Talking boxing, because tomorrow night the great and the good in the world of boxing have converged on Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We'll see what Anthony Joshua has left in the tank. We'll see if Joseph Parker can upset the apple cart and beat Deontay Wilder. We'll see what unfolds on the night, and a night of unprecedented action we are being promised. Spencer Oliver is already there for us. Spencer, hi to you, my friend. We've just been in conversation with Jai Opetaia, who's third out tomorrow night, the third fight out. And there is one very confident young man, isn't he?
Absolutely. Listen, Jai Opetaia is a really lovely guy as well. And, you know, he's telling us about his future out here in Saudi Arabia. You know, they're talking about, well, there is a 2-fight deal in place. He had dinner with Turki Al-Sheikh last night. They're talking about 3 fights possibly. And they're even talking about Opetaia versus Dimitri Bivol. Could you imagine that? Them two going at it would be an absolutely unbelievable fight. So big plans here in Saudi Arabia for the future of boxing, not just heavyweight boxing.
Opetaia, Dimitri Bivol.
So Bivol steps up to cruiserweight.
Well, yeah, or they may do it. I mean, listen, as we saw there, Opetaia, you know, he's just vacated his IBF belt. So, you know, it's all about the best fighting the best. I think that's where we're at, Simon. I think that, you know, I think what the Saudis are trying to do is take the politics away from the sport. You know, if the sanctioning bodies are not happy with certain situations, then they'll just go with the best fighting the best. And I think that's what the boxing fans want as well.
I don't see it quite that way. I don't think they're taking the politics out of the sport. They're just writing checks out and taking the resistance away from everybody.
Isn't that the politics, though? Like, I mean, Simon, listen, you understand the business side of it. The reasons we don't get the big fights happening are
money.
One, because of the platform it goes on.
Yeah.
That is exactly it, Simon. And you know that you put big deals together like that in the boxing game as well. And I think that with the Saudis coming up on money, they put this show together in 3 weeks. Now, Simon, you know that if this was going on in Britain, this would take the best part of 2 years to put a show of this magnitude together.
And that's true. I get that. And ultimately, the reasons why everyone was prepared to sit on the same stage is because everybody sat there with no particular complication about the economics. That will not go on forever. The Saudis aren't the panacea for the financial landscape of boxing. They aren't going to sit there and just do what they've done in this last fight, which is, how much do you want? How much do you want? How much do you want? And how much do you want? And the promoters have just got to sit there and hold their hands out. And that will change in the future, and it'll be interesting to see how it changes. But I was interested to see Jai Opetaia, because obviously he talks about wanting the belts back. He's vacated the IBF belt because he's going down a different route, and he sees that the landscape economically is better for him. But the fighters that he's fighting, with due respect to Chisora and Jordan Thompson, are not on his level. So I don't know how they enhance his reputation, because they're not on his level.
Sure, Simon. I think where he's going with this is life-changing money for Jai Opetaia, money that he's never earned before, and ultimately it is prize fighting. And what he's saying is, let me have this 2-fight deal, let me earn all the money, which is what boxing is all about. It is a business, and then I will go and reclaim those belts, because he's still going to have a very good ranking. So that's the way that he sees it. He's still a young man, and he feels that it's all about earning money, but also he'll collect the belts on the way back. And I mean, there's talk there. I think he's going over to spar Tyson Fury after he finishes here. He's going to be the main sparring partner for Tyson Fury, because he's fighting Alexander Usyk February 17th in preparation. And I said to him, Jai, where does your future lie? And he said, listen, heavyweight, I wouldn't write that off. I can see myself going up to heavyweight at some point. Not yet. I want to unify and dominate the cruiserweight division, but also I want to earn a lot of money, and this is where I'm being offered right now.
Okay, we're watching you coming into us live on YouTube and Facebook. You're wearing a pair of very expensive borrowed sunglasses because it's 25 degrees out there. There isn't a cloud in the sky. Spencer, you've been a busy boy, because we know you caught up with Anthony Joshua earlier. Some are saying, what's up with Joshua this week? Not very responsive. So you said to him, what about your man Otto Wallen, the guy you're going in against in the ring?
He's coming in here, he's talking. We saw him earlier on. He's talking. He's full of confidence. He feels that AJ's not where he was mentally and all that sort of stuff. You've heard it all.
If that's what he's banking on,
he
should be banking on his skills and his skill set. He should be banking on the fact that he's worked hard. He trusts his skills, and he thinks he's good enough. He shouldn't be banking on whether I'm mentally strong or not. That's crazy to go into a fight and hope that the fighter you're fighting isn't mentally strong, and that gives you an opportunity to beat them. What I'm banking on is my confidence, my strength, my durability, my chin, my heart, my fitness, my skills. Nothing to do with Otto. Everything I'm banking on is everything to do with me, and that's what's giving me confidence.
Oh, he sounds very confident there, Spencer. Was he confident throughout?
Absolutely, Jim. Listen, you can get that full interview on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel, and you listen to Joshua. I mean, you've seen a lot of people will have listened to a lot of the online stuff that he's been doing, a lot of the interviews he's been doing. They've been one-word answers, yes, no, not really been, interacting with people. With that interview there, he was sort of opened up a little bit. It was a very good interview, and we saw the real side of him. And, he knows exactly he knows where he's at right now. He knows what he's got to do, what he's got to deliver. And I think actually listening to him there and saying, listen, if that's what he's banking on, Otto Wallin, he's in big trouble. And I thought that was very good of him. I think he's in a good place. I think that teaming up with Ben Davison has sort of like give him that added confidence as well. That showreel knockout he had last time against Robert Helenius, I think that has added confidence in him. I asked him a question on that and said, look, how does that feel? Did that give you what you needed? He said, listen, I wanted more of that. That's what I'm looking for, more of that. And that's what he's looking for on Saturday night.
Okay.
What do you make of? I think he's been great, actually, Anthony Joshua. I didn't like him getting involved in a confrontation with Jarrell Miller in a corridor because I thought it was beneath him. But I actually quite liked Anthony Joshua when he was asked questions by TNT and by DAZN. I think it was Darren Barker about what do you think of Jarrell Miller? He's a drug cheat. Go fight Dillian White. I actually quite liked all that sort of stuff. I thought get to the point and straight to it. But what do you think Wallin's going to try and do? Because if Wallin does what Helenius does, which Helenius didn't come to fight. He came to fight Deontay Wilder, got pinged in the first round. He didn't come to fight Joshua, which is why it took longer for him to catch up with him. Do you think Wallin comes to fight? Do you think he's going to put it upon Anthony Joshua, or do you think he's going to be a little bit more guarded and keep his distance?
Great question, because I asked Anthony Joshua the same thing, and Anthony thinks that Wallin's actually going to go at him, and that's going to give him a chance to get off with his shots. And I said, listen, Ant, I don't see it that way. I think that Wallin actually is going to go on his back foot. You look at his last fight against Gassiev, who's a strong, big puncher as well. And what Wallin does is he's very slippery, and he manoeuvres around the ring. He stays just out of distance, comes in distance, doesn't load up with anything particularly, but puts the shots together really well. He boxes very much like an amateur still, but he does it over the 12-round distance. But it is very effective. He's very difficult. He's got that European sort of style where he's very difficult to hit, very difficult to pin down. So Joshua is going to have to be on the hunt. He can't be hesitant. He can't be waiting too long. He's got to go in there. He's got to stamp his authority, and he's got to let his hands go. And I think that that's where he gets the job done. But otherwise, it could prove a tricky night for him. But I think Wallin definitely goes on the back foot, looks at a long fight, and tries to nick it on points.
Spencer, terrific. If he lets his hands go, we'll see what happens. We're letting you go now. Thank you so much. Spencer Alva will be working out there throughout the weekend, of course, with talkSPORT. The fight coming to you live, the whole night of fights coming to you live. We have an early festive treat for lucky listeners, though. talkSPORT has secured commentary rights to the Day of Reckoning, as I said, which sees Joshua and Wilder both in action out there. The talkSPORT team will be on the ground in Riyadh, and they're bringing you plenty of exclusive content from this point onwards. So heavyweight boxing and the Day of Reckoning is live and free on talkSPORT.